Okay. Okay. So let's start today's session. It's very important and critical session in the process of carbon accounting. So now you are fully equipped with scope 1, 2, and 3 calculations. You also understand all the fundamental requires for the carbon accounting. You have been briefed on the basics of carbon accounting, which includes climate action, etc., climate change, climate pollution. Now, to control that climate, we started with climate, right? That there is a climate change happening. There are evidences. Now we are closing the loop with today's session that what a company can do to reduce that climate change or mitigate it. Of course, there is another way to adopt it. You change your style of working and adjust with the temperature rise. Put more AC, sleep on, ice sleepers. Yeah, whatever you want, way you want to do, that is the adoption. But the mitigation a corporate should do as a corporate responsibility happens for the purpose of where we started. So we started with climate and we are now ending with climate. Tomorrow's session is a practice session. So whatever we learn today, we will try to implement it tomorrow. That's why the assignments are important. There are two assignments which I will be giving you. One is the Germany Energy Day, and there will be one more for Toyota. So let's start with the today's session. We are going to first cover what exactly GHG mitigation, greenhouse gas mitigation strategies, why people do it, and how they do it, which you have to learn. Of course, practice will make you perfect, but we will give you enough tool that you can utilize in ideal conditions. Okay. Again, industry to industry, the mitigation action changes, strategy changes. That adjustment people will do on the last day when I will give you the assignment. Okay. And we will see that how people are responding. Last time, of course, Mohammed Safi was there. He presented his own case, etc. Everybody has presented. So same thing we will do in this time as well. Everybody has to prepare one case and bring it for the. And Mohammed Safi, you are attending a class today, so you have to come tomorrow with a case study.
Oh,
And
sure,
this time
sure.
you cannot bring the previous case study. You have to bring a
Yes,
new.
correct. Yeah,
Okay, fair. Let's just start with session coverage. So module 4, you will get insight about greenhouse gas mitigation principles, sector specific strategies, that which sector requires what kind of strategy. That also will give you some tips and tricks. And then we will look into carbon market, because carbon offset market in itself is a big C. So I will try to see how much we can cover today. If not, then tomorrow we will start with the same. Um, and then we will go into effective reporting of the sustainability, on the basis of which our GRI sessions will start day after tomorrow. Means from Tuesday we will, or Wednesday we will start with the GRI session. What all I'm covering in next four parts of GHG mitigation understanding. We will start with definition and importance of GHG mitigation. Then we will look into basic principles and component of GHG mitigation strategy. Then we will go into sector specific roadmap. And finally, we will end up with carbon market roadmaps, because if you can't do anything, then you have to go and buy it, right? That's how it works. When everything fails, you go for carbon markets. So that's how the session coverage will be. Let's just start with the definition. Definition is very simple. Uh, so greenhouse gas mitigation refers to strategies, any strategy. So mitigation basically is a strategy. Okay. What kind of a strategy? Where you are going to take action for reducing or preventing the emission of greenhouse gases. I will repeat it once again. Understand three parts of the GHG mitigation, greenhouse gas mitigation. Mitigation means strategies. What kind of strategies? And actions which you take to reduce or prevent. Either you reduce it. So we have calculated how much was Tesla scope 1 emission. Anybody remember? Anyone? 185,000 tons of kilo carbon dioxide. That's their scope 1. Anybody remember scope 2 emission of Tesla? 450 or 485. I also don't remember exactly, but that's the number I remember. Thousands. That is the scope 2. And scope 3 was? Any guesses?
22.3 something something.
Absolutely, Rajniji. It was a massive amount. Good job done. So that's how the emissions you have recorded. Now that emission you need to reduce every year. One guy did that. In one of the case study, we saw that last year, whatever he reported, he attacked scope 3 and controlled 5.3 or 5.9 million tons of carbon dioxide equivalent. Which was that company? Anybody remember that?
Unilever, you said? Unilever?
Yes. So here, what we are trying to say is that you need to focus based on the tangibility, which one is easily approachable, and how you can do it. Both of things you need to consider, which is a basically cost benefit analysis. Can I address a scope 1? If yes, how? Can I address a scope 2? If yes, how? That how part is the mitigation part. Everyone, please focus. Mitigation is the strategy or action which you take to reduce or prevent the emission, which is a greenhouse gas emission, right? How you can do it is linked to the approachability of your calculation. So scope 1, 2, 3, which one I can address and how, that how part links to the strategy. Why it is important? These are the four matrices which you are saying, 2 by 2 matrix, which you are saying, is establishes the fact that without GHG mitigation, all your effort is zero. First of all, climate change mitigation is required right now, right? Every discussion our session started with climate change discussions, right? So eventually you can calculate carbon accounts, you create an account for your company, you know everything now, that where I'm emitting, how much I'm emitting, what is my GHG inventory, what is my hotspot, what is my baseline, all that you have established. Up to baseline is your first process. But that baseline is useless if I don't create a strategy to reduce that baseline numbers. Are you with me up to here? There is no doubt, no question in your mind. Is there any trouble? Let me know. Any question? Rajni ji, Mohammed Safi ji, any question? Subodh ji.
Clear, clear.
Yeah, it is clear this thing, but maybe at the end I'll ask this, Tapad, if I want to do my company's own this thing, I have a little bit trouble in from where to start, from which place, how to start, because I didn't have any data or nothing in there. From how to start?
So that is why where to start whenever that question arises, you start with GHG inventory.
Yeah.
What you do is you first understand each department operation.
Yeah.
Once you have understood that, you take that 5-step model which I have given you. Very simple model. What is that model does? It creates the GHG inventory. Simple. How it starts? Anybody remember those 5 steps? Please guide Mohammed Safi ji. I want somebody
Easy.
lead here.
RCC.
No,
No,
no.
it is a
No,
principle.
no.
RCC TA is principle which you follow throughout those 5 steps. But what are those 5 steps to do GHG inventory? Subodh ji, ESG Pro 5-step model. Rajni ji, go ahead.
Fine boundaries.
Defining the boundary. So Mohammed Safi ji, if you have nothing to do, of course, you need to hire a consultant if you are doing for first time. That's the recommended. Why? If some mistake happen, you have somebody to put on the thread rather than your own job. So that's the ideal way. But if you are yourself as a consultant working, then in that case, you start with ESG Pro 5-step model.
But
Of course,
2, 3 times, as you said, consultant is the best I've seen in my company.
why
They
you should do
get
it?
हाँ,
Even though you
वो
want to do it
किसी
and
को
you
आपको
know,
समझ में आ जाएगा वो क्या कर रहा है इसके बाद।
you can guide him, you can take better work from him. And then next year, anyway, you are going to do. And this time, if something goes wrong, the numbers becomes too huge. They will not come to us. What did you do, Rajni? You gave me such a high number. How I can take this to my stakeholder? They will kill me. All this happens. So that jittery becomes reduced if you have somebody to call off. It's like Bali ka bakra, we say.
Yeah.
Mohammed Safi ji.
Yes, right.
You create somebody to get it killed. But if you still you are the consultant, forget about somebody else is a consultant. You are a consultant. You are going inside a company and doing it first time. What you will do? You will first define the boundary, organization and operational. Second step, Rajni ji,
सेकंड इज यू सेट द
framework. Absolutely, the framework and the timeline. कि कौन से timeline का I have to do calculation and what framework I am going to refer. Absolutely correct. Mohammed Safi ji, you tell me what is the third step of ESG Pro 5-step model? Third step. Very simple one,
Mm.
right? You set the boundary, then you come and set the framework or identify right framework for you and set the timeline. That's the step two.
And collect data or this thing.
Collect data and identify the source of emission. That's the step number three. Identify the source of emission and then collect the data.
Yeah,
लॉजिकल है ना, आप लॉजिकली सोचिए कैसा आपको करना है। तो पहले एक आप बाउंड्री लगाएंगे कि मैं यही
yeah.
मेजर करने वाला हूं। आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू मेजर प्रेसली। यू विल नेवर टेक अ होल वर्ल्ड टू मेजर। कैन यू बॉयल द फुल सी? Around Kenya, there is so much of a blue ocean. Can you boil the whole ocean? Not possible. But you can definitely boil your, part of your river. You can take some water, put it on a gas, and it can boil it. Similarly, you need to set that boundary in greenhouse gas emission. Once that is set, two type of setting. One is the organizational setting. Second is operational setting. Then step number two, you identify right framework which suits you. If your company already following quality walks, they have a ISO 45000, 14001, 9001, all this they have, then ISO is the right framework for you because people are used to such kind of documentation. If not, GHG protocol because you have international presence and you want to compare yourself with international peer. There is no competition for your company. Again, it looks very simple, but this is the three. I have given you three parameters right away, right? Pehla, what's the first parameter for you to judge whether you should use GHG or ISO? You decide based on your company status. If you are a locally comparable company, then of course you will do it ISO. If you have a huge ISO team, your own internal auditors are there, quality auditors are there, then also you will choose ISO. But if you have a do not have any competitor and you want to play international market, peers are there in international market, then right model will be GHG. That decisions I will always suggest take a help from somebody. Personal help le lo na. What's up? Okay, company is not ready to hire. Let
Yeah.
the consultant establish that case. Why you are getting in between? You tell what you want. You tell him, we need to do one, two, three, four, five. Put a cost benefit to them. Now they will say, okay, get me a quotations. If you are doing how much it will cost and time it will take, because you have to spend time, right? So you have to leave everything and do the same work. You can take up, but you have to suggest to the management, ki, boss, I will do it, but we need to hire a consultant so that we have a third party point of view plus peer comparison because benchmarking is critical here. Where to calculate that the step number three. What we said, step number three, we said
Source of emission and or collect
source of
data.
emission. How will you find that source of emission? What is the material source of emission? How will you find? So benchmarking is important in this case. So what my peer is reporting, where is his source? Now you can't find that into sustainability report. It is the guys who are doing the consulting work for last 20 years. They know it because they are working for several other companies like yours. So they will bring that. And that is what you need to maintain under your RFP, that you are mentioning it very clearly. Baseline has to be set, benchmarking has to be done, and then there has to be a step to control this process. So step three, we understood. We need to identify the source and collect the data. Once that process is done, what is the fourth step? Subodh ji. What is the fourth step of ESG Pro Mastery Institute 5-step model?
Select the factor.
Select the factor has a name. Name is, what is the name, Rajni ji? Fourth step का name क्या है?
You
Cal-
calculate.
calculate the emission. To calculate the emission, of course, you need the emission factor and you need the collected data numbers.
Right,
Activity
right emission factor is to be chosen.
chosen and
And
the
you
activity
perform the
data.
calculations the way
Perfect.
you did
Perfect. That's how scope 1 and 2 you can do, and scope 3 category wise you do the same thing. Clear?
last verify and report.
And verify report. That's how the 5 steps, Mohammed Safi, you have to
And calculation itself, even analysis also comes there.
off
Whatever
analysis.
I am doing calculation, whether it is how to analyze, whether it is coming in mitigation or where it comes. So
No,
whatever
it's the third
calculation,
part. Third part. When you are identifying the source and collecting the data, analysis comes there. The when you do the calculation, you just multiply the emission factor because
yes, right,
already
yeah,
that data has been processed. Average data, analysis
yeah.
of data, peaks and lows, all that analysis, statistical analysis happen on the stage 3 itself. Then we are collecting the data. Once data is collected and analyzed, then it brought back on the activity basis to multiplied with a emission factor. That happens at
Yeah.
step number 4. And step number 5, you put that a context, which is a reporting. Reporting is not just putting up the numbers. You have to put a context to it, put a story about it, and then you report. Once that is done, then mitigation action comes into play. So that was the first point, that climate change mitigation requires corporates to provide a mitigation. And that's why this has become a critical topic, which is the topic of GHG mitigation. Second is, of course, there are economic benefit as well, which
No,
encourages
here,
the
one
innovation
more,
and
sorry,
can lead to job creation. Sorry, you're saying something?
sorry, here, see, along with the reporting, we have to give this recommendation also here.
What kind of recommendation?
So what we have to do in future, what have to reduce and this thing. So after that, mitigation or something comes, right?
No, 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 no. That doesn't happen at that stage. So
Hmm.
let's put a very clear bifurcation. That's why good you have done GRI as well, right? You are planning to attend GRI as well,
Yeah,
GRI
yeah,
program, correct?
yeah.
GRI program will establish those targets, SBTI frameworks, yeah, how to reduce every month. I am just talking right about GHG
Yeah.
mitigation. That
Okay.
happens at this stage where you set the mitigation strategy, that how will I control? But
Hmm.
setting of the target is not part of GHG.
Hmm.
सेटिंग
Okay.
तो पूरा ऑर्गेनाइजेशन वाइड पे करोगे ना आप, केवल एनवायरनमेंट
Yeah.
का नहीं करोगे. यू विल नॉट डू ओनली फॉर एनवायरनमेंट, यू विल डू फॉर सोशल, दैट आई हैव अ टारगेट दैट आई विल हैव अ डाइवर्सिटी इन माय कंपनी. So 50% women, 50% men will be there. I will have a diversity in my board. All that target setting happens at the reporting level with a international framework like GRI or BRSR. This level,
Sir,
you don't do target setting. You plan how
Hmm.
will I reduce my scope 1, 2, and 3. That is happening at mitigation level, which you have already done last time, isn't it? Yes,
But
sir.
Yes,
Go ahead.
yes.
before that, already targets prior to this, already target are set in GRI or BRSR report.
Absolutely. That drives from there because those guys who are sitting at the board
There, yeah,
fix this
that is
target.
the first step. That is the first stage. Then this is the second stage.
Yeah, this is inside. This is a subset of the GRI reporting, isn't it, Subodhji? The carbon accounting is a part of the whole reporting. So that relationship you have to always understand, okay? So here, some step we jump. The reason we are jumping because there is already set standard at the top,
Okay.
which GRI standard has already indicated you have to achieve net zero under Paris Agreement by 2050. If somebody is planning to do 2040, 2030, or 2060, it has to have a justification to that. Okay. So here, mitigation action have nothing to do with all this. You have to find a way how to reduce your carbon emission. That is the mitigation. Now that once you convert into action point, that derives from the GRI factors, which I have agreed to the government, I have agreed to my compliance officer, all that will come from there. Clear? Mohammad Safi ji, any confusion now?
No, no, no. Clear. Thank you.
5 स्टेप आपने सेट किया, टारगेट
Yes,
और
yes, yes,
सेट हो
yes.
चुका है बोर्ड लेवल पे. You
Yeah.
just put a mitigation action. But mitigation action, specifically for carbon, has to be done independently. And how you do it? Based on the scope 1, 2 and 3 sensitivities. Sensitivities मतलब क्या? किसको आप impact कर सकते हैं? How much you can impact it? That you need to know. And ये नहीं work किया. So I told you in the beginning, you need to do carbon market credits. You have to go and buy or sell, right? That
Yeah.
is the last resort for mitigation. And we are learning from since lecture number 2, day 2, that which one, where actually you should apply carbon offset, which you can't avoid, right? Unavoidable, then only net zero works. Otherwise, you are doing is carbon neutrality. You are just buying and making it neutralized. When you do only for the purpose of unavoidable emission, if you remember Microsoft example, here you have to visualize that Microsoft graph, right? SBTI graph which they have. So that's how it works. And then you have a compliance and regulation which meets the international standard, national regulatory standard, all these demands that you have to have mitigation action as well. What is the role of GHG mitigation in corporate and government policy? Now, mitigation action are applied to both sides, at the country level, which government does, and at the corporate level, which any individual does. Corporate level strategy is what we are learning. Our focus will be there corporate level, but we cannot avoid government level. And that's why I will give you some case study on government level as well. Okay. Like, because some of the companies are PPP based. Good example is Rajni IRCTC, where she used to be there. Yeah. So that,
पीपीपीबीएस क्या है सर? वहाँ पीपीपीबीएस कुछ नहीं है सर, आप
sorry,
बताइए. What is PPP based over there as per you?
I didn't get you. PPP matlab?
You said na PPP based.
Then PPP means semi-government. IRCTC is a private company
It's a
launched by the
PSU.
government.
It's a PSU where
PSU,
part
it's
of
a
that has
PSU.
been sold to the external market. Yes.
Part only. And that too, they got listed as well now. So it's a retail market as well, which is participating. But it's a kind of Navratna which we talk, right? Navratna of the government. But my point is, when you are government or government induced, you also have to have your own mitigation action against your carbon accounts, okay, or against your carbon inventory. You have to find a way that the GHG mitigations are also deployed, and both had different outlook. That difference you need to understand. Like last time when Mohammad Safi ji has presented his case, I believe he did it for the Telangana government. So he did it for the Telangana government transport company. Correct? Or it was for the complete transport sector you did?
Yes, right. Yeah.
For the company, right? So the
Yeah.
company is a government-induced company, and if you will see his mitigation actions are completely different than the Colonel Vijay Kumar, who produced for, I think he did it for some corporate, I believe Toyota or something like that. He did it
Yeah.
for that. So his mitigation actions are different than the Mohammad Safi mitigation action. And the reason is both has a different role to play. For example, if it is a corporate, then company incorporates GHG mitigation into their sustainability framework. You remember I was talking just one slide before. So the question came little early from Mohammad Safi, but the answer is here. I said it very clearly that the derivation of the mitigation is coming from the GRI level or BRSR level. They have already asked you to, you should be prudent on your environmental policy. You should produce product and service with the being environmentally conscious. That decision is already made there. So you have done the accounting, you know how much this year your carbon dioxide emissions are, your GHG emissions are. Now you have to propose your mitigation action, which is coming from the GRI reporting framework. So that is exactly what is written here. So company generally they derive their mitigation action based on what international frameworks are suggesting. And here GHG protocol doesn't come and play. GHG is just a part for calculation purposes and assuring that you are doing it rightly. But mitigation comes from the GRI standards or TCFD or whatever, that kind of standards. So such as carbon neutral pledge, science-based targets, these are the different derivatives of those standards which you adopt, and then you put the mitigation action so it follows the right path. Here we will talk about a case study of Microsoft commitment to becoming carbon negative by 2030. How many of you remember this case study? If not, please read that case study which was given to you earlier, right? So that's one of the example. If I'm talking about government level, so of course government develop their policy and regulations such as that they also manage the carbon pricing for India, they have to manage through their policies, right? So if they are putting a mitigation action, they will reduce the price of carbon so people can buy, or they can increase the price of carbon so people will not emit extra. Both works, stick or carrot. You are seeing my point. Government always have a stick and a carrot. So European standard has put ETS scheme, which is European trading scheme. What they do there, their price of carbon is $150. So people who are emitting carbon, they will be always worried. I have to buy a massive, I have to shelf out massive amount of dollars to buy those carbon credit. So I will, rather than emitting more carbon, let me not emit more carbon, or rather, I'm going and buying the carbon from the market. But in India, people know that we are a progressive companies and we cannot change our technology so fast, be it in energy, be it in transport, be it in, EV में transition करने के लिए भी you need lot of investment. So that I can't do. So Indian government keeps the carbon pricing little lower compared to their peers. But of course, instead of lower, it is very low because market demand supply gets distorted, and then you have a price which is nobody wants it. Everybody wants to sell, but nobody wants to buy it. So the price goes further down, and now it is from between 10 to 12. So international people are using that as a benefit. This is how the government works. So government has not only a duty of their own mitigation for their IRCTs company or say PSU companies, etc., but also they have a responsibility to control the market, which is a carbon pricing market. Here, of course, example is European Union emission trading system, which is a cornerstone for the EU policy to combat their climate change. That ETS law sets that pricing of the carbon pricing, and that impacts the overall GHG mitigation in government side. What are the key drivers and challenges in formulating effective mitigation strategy? Key drivers and challenges in formulating effective mitigation starts from policy and regulation. So first driver is policy and regulation itself, which will enable you to make judgment. For example, I have just told you, right? Government has put a lower carbon credit pricing. So I will love to buy from the market. That will be my first aujar because cost benefit analysis will work in favor of people purchasing the carbon credits rather than reducing the carbon too much. But if you are referring international framework like SBTI, etc., buying carbon credit in net zero targets are not encouraged. Got my point? Policies are in favor, but still it is not applicable in my framework which I have selected for my company sustainability reporting. So that judgment you have to make. So first is the policy and regulation, where government mandates for international agreement pushes you for the compliance. Yeah, CSRD, CBAM, all this comes into play and push that better. I reduce my carbon emission. Second is market forces. So increasing consumer demand for sustainable practices requires you to reduce your emission or put mitigation plan in place. Third is technological advancement. Now it's become cheaper and cheaper, like solar panels, right? It's so cheap nowadays compared to 10 years ago. So those innovative technology which facilitate reduction of emission also encourages people to go for mitigation initiative. That is the driver. However, there is a challenge also. What are those challenges? High initial cost. Putting a solar power plant requires a massive amount of investment. Investment is though technology and infrastructure can be substantial. Second challenge is economic and political barrier. So difference in policy approaches and priorities between different nations, like CBAM wants to penalize you, SEC wants to penalize you, then you try not to grow very faster. You don't apply a lot of mitigation actions because technology cost in America is very cheap. When you bring it to India, 200% taxes are levied. So better I don't bring those kind of stuff. And that's why solar panel manufacturing in India was delayed process. Then comes the data and measurement as well. That is another challenge which exists in market, where accurately measuring impact, emission impact is a complex scenario, and it's a resource incentive as well. Here are these two case study, which I will post it in the group. One is the Denmark energy transition. So Denmark as a government has decided to shift themselves to completely renewable energy. Once they have decided, they have achieved it, and how they are achieving it is what has been discussed in this case study, which I will post it in. We will take a small break and I will post it right away. Second case is Costa Rica emission reduction. So Costa Rica is another country which has started its decarbonization strategy, which has been pioneering and in securing recognition from significant carbon emission reduction in last couple of years. Specifically by this year of 2024, they have reinforced their national decarbonization plan, which was initiated in 2019. What was this decarbonization strategy which that government has taken? So it has three different legs on which they will walk. First is they have created a path to net zero. They want to become net zero by 2050. So they do not have a very aggressive target of 2030 like Denmark. Okay. So they have a 2050 and they have divided into three different chunks to achieve it. First chunk is 2018 to 2022. In 2019, they launched this program. So they are following it, which is called Foundational Transition Program from 2018 to 2022. Then they brought in a transitional phase for the decarbonization, which is going to happen, and right now it's happening from 2023 to 2030 for Costa Rica. Okay, I'm not talking about Denmark. Denmark, I will take it after this. So second phase is 2023 to 2030. This is transitional phase. So one is foundational, then transitional, and then after 2030, 1 to 2050, they will have full deployment of their decarbonization strategy. This strategic plan has attracted substantial investment as well from International Monetary Fund, IMF, and Inter-American Development Bank. Both of them has invested and allowed this program to happen, and they are ensuring that there is a continuity in changing the political landscape for a mitigation strategy at national level. Okay, similar for IRCTC we can do. IRCTC, if decides tomorrow to become carbon neutral, we can raise fund for them. That don't put a single penny from your existing operation. We can bring it from outside for you. What else you need? And we will bring it at the cheaper cost than what you are getting in Indian market. That's a second stuff, because it's a nationalistic agenda, right? Even though it's a PS, it's a not directly controlled by government, but still it can get such kind of funds, and that is exactly Costa Rica and Denmark has done. But of course, Denmark has invested their own money as well, big time. But Costa Rica is not that rich country, so it's a Latin American country, right? So they are getting from different sources, and which is cheaper for them. And same time, these guys also guides you and speed up your technology. Because look, why people go to JICA, means Japan and fund, or IMF or IFCs? They do not just go for the money. Of course, it's the cheapest money in the world available, right? 3%, 5% pay, you will get everything. But also there is another advantage: technology transfer become faster. Once IMF put the money, no, he said that okay, don't buy from local market this equipment. I will get it from America for you. He will give you that connection, and you will procure that equipment, which will be one third of the cost what you are getting in India in private market. You're getting my point. That is the advantage Costa Rica wanted to achieve. And this plan became a success and marked the last first foundational stage itself in 2024. When they produced the result, the agriculture emission has gone down exponentially. It has also expanded its electric vehicle use in the country and effective forest conservation through a scheme called REDD Plus program. Yeah, under World Bank and UNFCCC. This is the reference point. You definitely need to read that case study. Denmark leadership in renewable energy, they have focused on renewable energy. So they are transiting from their conventional energy to renewable energy. They have become a leader in sustainable energy driven by commitment to cut greenhouse gas emission by 70%. That emission, which is mostly the emission happens from energy side, right? Most of the country have reported 22% of the whole world emission is coming from this segment. So by 2030, they have put a target from their 1990 level of emissions, they want to reduce it by 70%. That's their target by 2030. Of course, 2045, they have additional target to achieve 90%. And then in 2050, they will become carbon neutral. So that's how they are following. They are not having in batches and they have not defined different names, might be having, but I'm not knowing about it. What they have said very clearly is by 2030, they want to reduce their greenhouse gas emission by 70%, which is compared to 1990 level. And then they have 45 and 50. This progress, which they have made till today, is attributed to three things. First, they have an innovation like offshore wind power. So onshore, everybody does, right? But they have started harvesting offshore wind power, which is triple of the amount what you find on the surface. Why? Because sea itself has its own waves and that creates the wind energy. Then one is the top, the turbine captures it on the top, and one is on the bottom as well. That's a double-sided benefit which you get if you are doing offshore. Yeah, but it's very difficult and costly as well. That's why people don't attempt it. In UK, it failed miserably. Later on, they have learned the lesson and did it again. So that's the first thing. Second, the near-term elimination of coal energy they have done. From their energy mix, they have started reducing that coal. And third, the district heating system, they have shifted completely to gas. And being, all European countries were also threatened by USSR not supplying them or Russia not supplying them the heat, they have started looking into renewable energy for that same. So Denmark policy includes broad political agreement and which ensures the continuity of the plan along with stakeholder collaboration across the sector. And this model specifically has transformed Denmark into a template for effective carbon reduction. So that country people cite anywhere, everywhere. Even in India, they have done several roadshows with the governments to showcase that how our country also can adopt the similar stuff. Now, what I want you to do is, of course, it's a group activity, but let's do it individually, each of us. Or let's do it tomorrow. You bring it answers to following question. It's a part of our assignment cracking as well. How can a company align their business strategy, which is effective to the GHG mitigation policy? You have to think about that and bring an answer to the same. Hello? Are you clear with the assignment? Assignment is very simple. How can
Can you?
companies align their
We
business?
could not hear. Your voice went off.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Let's do a simple debate for next 10 minutes. Let's do that right away.
Okay.
Okay, tell me what are some innovative technology that can disrupt the traditional GHG heavy industry, like we just saw in the case of energy. You can take steel, you can take cement, whichever you want, and tell me what is the biggest obstacle there for GHG mitigation in economic feasibility? Means why people do not go for heavy mitigation activity under these industry like steel? What do you think? Why they are not going?
Cost of infrastructure.
Cost of infrastructure. That's a very good point. Any other point?
Technology.
Technology.
Unavailability of technology here in India.
Technology availability or technology ka cost? Which one you are suggesting?
Both.
Available.
Cost is first and then availability.
Okay. What do you think, Rajni ji? Anything else
Technology
coming
is
to
available. Technology is available. The जिसे कहते हैं ना policy decision by the company to adapt it, because uh, one has to decide that I have to do it.
that? So will at the top, the
Yes, at
willingness
the top.
to deploy such kind of technology. That's a good point. So technology
The
willingness
definite target or the stringent regulatory mechanism,
can
uh,
induce that
yes,
willingness.
which is as of now missing, perhaps because अब BRSA रिपोर्ट भी है, it's only a report, राइट, बट आपका एक बेंचमार्क जरूर है जो आने वाले सालों में, आज तो इस बार तो पहला साल था ना
Right. Last year
24,
was the first
आने
year.
वाले सालों में with coming years you will come to know that how effective that is.
Right. So you are suggesting two more points. So 2 point came from Subodhji. One is the technology availability and the cost of infrastructure itself. So these two are, he's suggesting people are not taking GHG in greenhouse gas heavy industry. You have suggested two more point. One is the willingness at the top, and second the stick which are available for the companies to take such kind of willingness. Very well said. Okay, let me go to Mohammed Safiji. What's your understanding on for GHG heavy industry, why they are not doing it, or what is the major obstacle according to you see?
Like right professionals, whenever they are consulting or someone has to be getting the right professionals also required, or someone has to, whoever this already other people have mentioned this one,
Has done
willingness
it
to
in
go.
past with somebody. Oh, well said. Well said. Absolutely. The capacity to deliver such kind of actions and convert into all these mitigation strategy into actions are sometimes missing in country like India, where people are not educated enough. Well said. Well said. Good point done, Mohammed Safi. Let me go to Manish. What do you think, Manish? Why people are not adopting major any major GHG mitigation strategy, specifically in GHG heavy? They know I am the culprit of climate change, but still they are not changing it. What you think is the reason?
They are not ready for a positive change. So there should a mindset of a positive change without compromising any profit or any their company framework. So the
Uh,
basic thing is willingness, will along willingness, a positive approach for a
outcome.
positive change.
So
Yes.
they could not see the
Like
visibility
basic
of
thing
the
is we are still dependent on a coal. We are
coal.
still dependent on the basic thing, which we know which are the main cause of GHG emissions.
Mm,
Like our new reports are like thermal power plants are the main
okay.
cause for the air pollution in all over Delhi.
Mm, true. So you
The
have
agricultural
agricultural means stubble burning is not the only cause,
waste burning.
uh, which is
So
called
we have to
stubble
be
burning.
ready for the
Stubble.
change.
Mm. You are right. You are right. So you are actually linking everything. Plus, you have said one clear point, which can be identified as the independent point, that people are unable to visualize the impact in profit terms of these initiatives. So you are saying, Mohammed Safi and Subodhji, this is how consultant work. These are the notings you need to convert when you are convincing your clients. When you are talking to them, you need to address these 5 points. The debate had a purpose. Presley, what do you think? Let's add one more point and then I will summarize it for you. That how you can utilize this to convince your board and management that they should look into such kind of initiative. What do you think, Presley? Why industry which is heavily polluting, oil and gas, steam engines, etc., which are heavily polluting, still they do not adopt the GHG mitigation strategy? What is that major obstacle between them and a better world?
My thought, this might be financial feasibility on the
Finance.
project for the reduction or or the implementation of GNG.
So the cost of implementation of mitigation plans is your concern, isn't it?
Yeah,
What you're trying to say? The cost of mitigation plan. So if somebody decides to do it, but the cost
yeah,
is discouraging management, correct?
yes, correct.
Absolutely. So these are the 6 points, but if you summarize it, it is mostly 3 to 4 points, which are: one is the cost of infrastructure, cost of mitigation action, which Presley also said, the cost of, if I've decided that, okay, I will bring CCUS unit from USA, which will suck the air and convert into tiles, carbon tiles, which will be for there forever, right? Once you convert those into carbon tiles from carbon itself, they will never destroy. So that tile is the best tile. Put it in the next Taj Mahal, which Presley is going to build in Kenya, or Rajneesh is building in Delhi. Put that carbon tiles and it will never erode. Taj Mahal ka issue is khatam, right? But point here is bringing that CCUS unit is a costly arrangement. That's the point number one. So that cost need to be addressed in the beginning itself. Second, we have seen, which Manish was trying to say, or Subodhji said, that, not Subodhji said, Manish said, what is the benefit? How much of saving I am going to do is not visible. So you need to find, that's my responsibility as a sustainability officer who is developing this GHG medication, that what benefit people will get, direct benefit. We need to talk about it. Find those indirect benefits, list it. Then mitigation action can take place and take a route. Yeah. Third point was willingness. Willingness, the buying power is not there because there is no critical framework. For that, Rajni ji, let me give you an example. Okay, India में चलेगा, BRSR है, लूज है, अभी तक उस पर कोई रेगुलेशन आया नहीं है, there is no stick there visible. But CBAM is applied from exactly in 2026 March. If you are exporting unit to Europe, forget it. Your cost of exporting will be 30% higher, which we are seeing in the case of China sending their electric vehicle to Europe. In Europe, now, this year in October itself, I hope in December end, they will be start paying. They have started paying. They are paying 17% to 22% based on which country they are exporting as a levy. And that's why China has decided to go and open now their assembly units of their vehicle into Europe. That way they can save than producing it in China and sending it there, because 5% they will be costlier than what they are saying. So BYD, all this big company which earlier from moved, Volvo is a, you know that, how many of you know Volvo is a part of Geely, which is a Chinese company now. No longer Volvo is a European company. How many of you know that Volvo as a car or Volvo as a truck? It's a Chinese company bought by Geely, Geely. That company has coming back now, start producing in Germany. They're coming back. That's a good news for German. And that's why they brought in now CBAM, which will be applied to cement, steel, everything which gets imported by European country will have to pay a levy and that levy is a carbon levy. It's not a infringement of WTO laws, but rather it's an additional law which has been debated in COP this time as well. Yeah, all six nations came together. The basic is Brazil. Um, I, I think there is from there is one country they have taken, and then you have Saudi Arabia, etc. This basic country has came together, not the BRIC one. There is one or two extra. So these people came together and talked about that how not to pay CBAM. Yeah, or CBAM should be delayed at least. Let every country be ready with such kind of plans. But I don't think so there is a concrete result there. Hopefully 2026 will bring that stick as well. So these are the three major findings you have to apply whenever, Rajni ji, you are preparing your case study and the presentation which will happen tomorrow as well as on the last day. Make sure your mitigation action has this three clarity. If you bring this clarity, there is a huge buying from the management. Willingness will be there. You will be also safeguarding your compliance requirements, and cost and benefit both can be seen in the ground. Make sense? Please make a note of these 3 points which from our debate only came out. Let's go to next part, which is overview of the mitigation action. Okay, so how to do this mitigation action? Vivek, you told me it is important. I also understood what I need to do before I prepare the mitigation action, but tell me how to do it, right? That's the question you are asking me. Let me answer that straight away. You start with basic principle of mitigation. First, understand, like when we started with ESG Pro 5-step model, which can be applied to any industry to calculate carbon dioxide emission by those companies or GHG emission by those companies. Under GHG protocol, we had 5 principle of GHG protocol. You remember those protocols principle? Everyone, one person will tell me one principle. Go ahead, Rajni ji. First principle.
Reliable.
Perfect. Second principle, Presley. Tell me what was the second principle? GHG protocol has a second principle, and you have to go into that sequence as well, which is a RCCTA. Let me go to Manish. Manish, quick. Tell me which was the second principle?
I don't remember, sir. Accuracy, I know. That one's
It's complete, sir.
Completeness.
completeness.
RCC. Remember this RCCTA. RCC क्या है? That's the slab which you put on your head. It's RCC.
Relevance. Okay.
Yeah, it is a reinforced cement concrete slab. It's made of cement, right? Cement and concrete. It is made of that and it is reinforced by steel. Have you seen that ever? Building a house? That's the RCC plinth or a slab which we put on the head. That RCC is the acronym for reliability. Second, Rajni ji only said completeness. Third, Mohammad Safi ji, tell me what is the third C? Third C.
Consistency.
Absolutely, consistency. Look, you can't forget it. Why I'm giving you an acronym? Because I know you guys do not have time to study your own. So whatever I am telling, just pick that much. 5 स्टेप आपको जानना है, which we revised today. 5 principles आपको जाननी है, which we have already given, which is RCC, which starts with reliable data you should collect. The reliability of your data has to be there. How do you make that reliable? You have the back papers attached to it. So anything you give as a number, you make sure there are back papers, which is fuel bill, electricity bill, all that we have discussed in scope 1, 2 and 3, right? वो सब हम बताया है. तो वो डिटेल है, बट आई एम जस्ट सेइंग द बेसिक यू शुड रिमेंबर. सो आर इज डन. सी इज कंप्लीटनेस. यू कैन नॉट गिव हाफ कुक्ड इंफॉर्मेशन. सो टाइमलीनेस उसमें होना चाहिए. व्हाट इज योर फ्रीक्वेंसी नीड टू बी सीन, एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा. एंड द थर्ड सी इज, what was third is C? Anybody remember? Even though Rajni ji had just said. First is reliability. Then you have completeness. What is the third C?
Consistency.
कंसिस्टेंसी. एब्सोल्युटली. सो लास्ट ईयर जो रिपोर्ट किया था वही रिपोर्ट करना है. इंटरनेशनल डिमांड जो है, बीआरएसआर मांग रहे हैं कि दे वांट अ डेटा इन किलो जूल. आई विल प्रोड्यूस ऑल डेटा इन किलो जूल. आई विल नॉट प्रोड्यूस इन किलोवाट आवर. You got my point. So consistency has to be there on the time frame as well as on the unit measurement. Clear? So that is RCC. Then you have a traveling allowance. And I linked this, and Rajni ji remembers it. Another reason I know why she remembers, because I linked it with the travel. Whenever you do the traveling by rail, you need a RCC sleeper under your railroad. It sits below on the gravel. It sits. You must have seen there are RCC. And when you travel through IRCTC booking, you have a traveling allowance which you are getting from your company. Just imagine this scenario. You'll never forget this principles, which is TA. T for
Transparency and
absolutely, Subodhi,
Transparency
transparency. And second one is
accuracy.
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 Okay. So next time, do remember this. So this is how you have complete your understanding of carbon accounting. When we are talking about mitigation, here also you have some principle to follow. So you will never forget this principle. Okay. Let's do that right away. Prevention and reduction is the first principle of GHG mitigation. Under GHG protocol, they say your target has to be first is prevention. Reduction होना ही नहीं चाहिए. We should not talk about how to reduce carbon emission, rather prevent it. You must have heard in throughout our life, right? Prevention is better than cure. After accident happens, and you go and put marham patti or you put bandage, rather than that, make sure you do not go and engage in such kind of high risk activity. So prevention is first, then comes the reduction, principle number one. So whatever mitigation strategy you design in a way that in long term I do not produce carbon dioxide from scope 1, 2 or 3 from my operation. That's the step one. However, sorry. Sorry, you were saying something, Rajni ji?
So, no, someone is at the door, so I have to open that.
Oh, no worries. That is okay. So what I was saying is second part, which we have to understand is reduction. When prevention fails, reduction comes into play. So even though accident happens, but it happens at lower scale. Because I have already done all which is required to reduce the carbon emission, still I cannot avoid the unavoidable emission, but I have a plan to reduce this over a period of time. So focus on reduction emission at the source becomes and come into play. So that play starts under your strategy. Are you with me on the first principle of creating a GHG mitigation? Give me yes if you have understood it clearly. How you do it, I will give you some examples. So using a clean energy is a first example of reducing and prevention, both. You should shift 100% to clean energy, but that cannot be possible on day one, right? Because in daytime only solar power works and you don't have a battery system which can store so much power that it can run your whole household on the solar power. It's happening. A lot of people are putting 3 kilowatt solar power on their rooftop and are able to even sustain in night. But just assume it is not happening in night and still you have to go back to the grid. But what you did, you started the reduction and eventually you will have the prevention done because you are not reliant on the grid, which is a coal based grid. Make sense? The first action people can take, this is the action point. So I have given you the mitigation action point as well. I've also told you the principle, right? Second is adopt the efficient processes. Same example, I want to go and become energy efficient in my house. That's my prevention and reduction strategy. Ideal is that I completely get out of the grid. I do not use the grid. Even though Delhi mein free hai Manish, electricity, but I don't want Mr. Kejriwal to give me anything free. Okay, so what I did, I went into solar. I do not need grid. However, still I need some time. When solar fails, my battery fails, anything happens, cloud for 10 days, smog for 30 days. Delhi mein everything happens, right? All the things happen. Your solar is not working. So you go to grid. In that case, I have adopted second action point into my mitigation, which is adopting efficient processes. What I did, instead of using a tube lights, I have gone into CFLs. Instead of using fans or heaters, I have gone to the alternative of the same. Instead of using, in the summer, major problem is refrigeration, right? Without refrigeration, you can't live. I went into clay-based refrigerator. There are those now available to you. You can even make your building completely without any air conditioner, air conditioned by clay based tiles. There are tiles which came into Shark Tank. You can convert your full building, even commercial building, out of your centralized AC system. It gives you the similar cooling which you need. It can take down up to 20 degree, 18 degree centigrade. It can go up to 25 degree centigrade. Yeah, that reduction and control power is in your hand. So this is how you do mitigation. Principle and mitigation, both I explained clearly. The first principle, everybody is with me now. You have understood what is the start point on the principle. Hopefully Mohammad Safi ji will not come again and ask me where to start mitigation. Clear, Mohammad Safi ji?
Yeah, yes, right.
Take the principle, apply it. That's how you start. Second principle which we need to understand is sustainability at your initiatives. Sustainability should be mool mantra. Why? Because anyway, we are a part of all sustainability exercise. Why I'm saying sustainability as a principle which is adopted for the GHG mitigation is it ensures that your strategies contribute to long-term environment and economic and social sustainable benefits. So you are not looking, the moment you use sustainability, we are not looking anything for immediate term relief. So ये पैनाडॉल नहीं है और वो कौन सा बीच में आया था देयर वाज अनदर पेन किलर एंड फीवर किलर
Nemoslide.
Nemoslide, and then one more is there, which was very famous in
Dolo,
Corona.
Dolo.
Dola.
500.
Dola 500.
Yes.
It is not Dola 500. You are not going to use Dola 500 or Panadol. What is your plan? That I bring a healthy system which protects my body to such kind of eventuality. Healthy system. Of course, nobody can guarantee it over a period of time, but I do not fall prey of such kind of environmental threats. So my immune system will be stronger. You are getting my point. So I will work on my immune system. So I will adopt healthy living style, better food, and consistently, if you do over a period of time, there are results which are astonishingly really shown a good result. Kejriwal is very good example there, Manish. If you know Kejriwal, he came to Bangalore. In Bangalore, when I came, I got exactly opposite result. But when he came in Bangalore and stayed in one of the naturopathy farm, he has got out of his sneezing problem. I'm just giving an individual example here, but for corporate, it is exactly similar stuff that you bring a sustainable policies, procedure, which makes your company for looking after long-term plans, not the immediate one. Here, again, don't forget our debate, the three pointers which got cost and benefit also should be seen. Yeah. So for Kejriwal, 1 lakh rupees might be very costly. For other people also, it may be very costly arrangement. But for rich people, 1 lakh is nothing. They will come and spend and get a better immune system, go back and fight the fight which they are doing, which is better than their health fight. So my point here is you need to bring those debate here again, cost benefit and the willingness and the stick and carrot which is available as a compliance, all that plus focus has to be sustainability efforts. So look for the long term benefit rather than immediate. That is the principle number 2. How you can look for the long term? So you see that how I am going to support the environment in next 10 years. Today whatever action I am taking, how will that impact? Again, I will go to the same example of energy efficiency. So bringing solar panel, does it gives me economic benefit? Does it gives me environment benefit? Not for today. Today, of course, I will still reliant on grid. But in 5 year, when grid becomes volatile, okay, prices may fluctuate too much based on hourly basis. Right now, it's month basis, right? The prices of electricity changes. In summer, there is a different price. Winter, there is a different price. But there is a possibility because now apps are there for you to look into how much of electricity you are consuming on real-time basis. With that company, I am working in Jaipur right now. They are implementing this in crores of homes are shifting from using a manual meter to smart meter. The moment a smart meter comes into play, you will start getting report on hourly basis that how much of electricity you consumed last month. And then government will bring sooner enough that, okay, all the people come to the grid at this point in time and my grid gets busted. So this price, this hour, my price will be this. So the pricing will change. At that point in time, will my solar panels and shifting to clean energy, will that help me? You need to bring into principle number 2 and check, test and verify. Make sense? This is the part 2 principle where not only you are looking economic benefit, but you are also looking the environmental and social benefit together. Third, whatever action you take into and bring into mitigation, make sure there is a measurability and verification of the same can happen. So I have shifted my tube light to CFL bulb, just example. Or I am shifting from AC, centralized AC to clay based tiles on my house. I need to make sure that I am able to measure that development. By shifting to tiles, there is no measurement happening. But what I can measure is that last year or last 10 years, on an average, I have consumed so much of electricity, so much of fugitive gases, yeah, so much of tons of carbon dioxide emission, which I have converted and got it. Now, putting the clay next 10 years, how will I show my improvement? Yeah, so those emissions are gone, those bills are not coming, those fugitive gases are not happening. Am I better? Can it be verified? Can I get a stamp? Yes, it can be stamped through LEED certification, through IGBC certification, and you are done. So always remember three things you will look for. First, is this mitigation action is showing some kind of prevention and at least reduction. Second, does this mitigation action has a sustainability at its core? Third, can I measure and verify it? Once you are done, your principle is covered and your mitigation strategy is perfect. Any confusion, any doubt, tell me now.
Clear.
If that is clear, let me give you the core building blocks for the same. Like we did building blocks earlier, let's go for the building block of developing mitigation strategy. The first building block is under these three principles is emission baseline assessment, which you have already done through your carbon accounting, where you have established a baseline to understand how much my company as a whole has emitted for the period which I have selected with those 5 steps. If that is done, that's the block number 1, which is at the bottom. Now, why you need this bottom? So that your progress can be measured. Are you with me? That's a block number 1. Block number 2, the second layer is target setting. Now, this target setting, of course, is coming from GRI recommendation, TCFD, CSRD, international all regulation, including BRSR, whichever. I set a target now. But that target for environment has to have 3 parameters. First, it has to have a realistic component in it. And that I can come to know because I'm doing that accounting. I know which carbon is sticky, which GHG emission is sticky, and which GHG emission I can address. I know that, right? That confidence everybody has. Give me a yes. If everybody is confident that they can understand by doing the scope 1 and 2 and 3, that which one is sticky in my company and which one is not, at least you can do that much. Tell me yes, manifest it, please. Go ahead, everyone. Rajni ji, are you confident that at least you know that which one is sticky greenhouse gas emission and which one I can control? I'm seeing
Yes, I
somebody in
worked
this.
with the company. I know where it was sticky now.
Absolutely good. Subodh ji says yes in the chat box. Wonderful. What about Mohammed Safi ji?
Yes.
You can at least understand that, right? Where is it sticky and where I can address.
Yeah.
Manish, can you do that?
Yes, yes, sir.
Absolutely, yes. Presley, can you do that? Can you identify under scope 1 and 2 and 3 which one is sticky in nature and which greenhouse gas is not sticky? Can you identify that? Presley, are you there, first of all? You have to be interactive. Look, even though you are attending from home or relaxed place, but you have to be interactive. Otherwise, the knowledge will go in your inbox through my recording, okay? Not to your mind. Fair. Coming back, the second layer is the target setting. In target setting, the first thing which you have to see is that it has to be realistic. What I can address and why, what I cannot. GRI is telling me become carbon neutral by 2050. But I am India. I know here people have their own pace. Decision making happens its own race. Yeah, all that. Means who knows better than Subodhji and Rajniji, who has worked in government, right? So they have decided 2070. Irrespective of what Paris Agreement has said, I will decide my own pace. Why? Because India wants to be realistic. And India has proven world wrong several times. We are a slow country, but we are the elephant. We are not the dragons. When we put a foot down, we put a foot down. You can't move it. Clear? And we have shown that in terms of climate change as well. Our commitment in 2015, again, I am repeating for the benefit of others. for solar power transition was how much? 20,
20, then
20.
we reached
And how
that
much we received?
1,000 times.
20 gigawatts. And in 2022, how much did we receive? 100 gigawatt. Yeah. So we beat our own target, but with our own pace. We have a different pace. Clear? That is why it has to be realistic. And second, it has to be scientific based. And third, it should be again addressing to those three principles which we have set in the beginning. What was those principles? Prevention and reduction need to be seen. The effort has to be sustainable. So whatever target I'm setting, it should not be that that year I achieved and next year again I'm started doing the same thing. Are you with me? So there has to be sustainability aspect that whatever target we are setting, it is scientific based, it is realistic, and I can control it because I'm able to measure and verify it. Third core component, the third layer, if you will see on right hand side, is action plan. The action plan you develop on the bottom two layers. What were those two layers? The emission baseline, which you have calculated, target setting, which you have done realistically, scientific based, and applying three principles. Now you develop the action plan again applying those three principles. Yeah, where you create actionable steps which meets the target. Then you have a emission baseline. You meet the target. Then you have implementation and monitoring, right? That regularly you need to track your progress. So there has to be a system so that you can track it regularly. Frequency can be anything: hourly, real time, monthly, daily, quarterly, or yearly, doesn't matter. But there has to be a frequency where you regularly track your progress and make necessary adjustments. That is why implementation and monitoring is critical, right? So action plan you have developed. On top of that is setting is implementation and monitoring. And finally, whatever you have done need to be reported and communicated transparently to your stakeholders, right? That's how the basic principle and their component works. Of course, there are a step in developing and implementing the plan. So all concepts are clear. Now this is the final step, how you will develop. And then I will expect you to develop, right? Otherwise, why I should expect you and present me a case tomorrow, on the same. There are five-step model here as well. So we have a five-step model to calculate the carbon account or do the carbon accounting on any industry. And then we have a five-step model, which we have for developing and implementing the mitigation plan. Simple. So nobody will be confused which one is five, which one is six, right? There are five principle in carbon accounting. There are three principle in mitigation setting. Clear? There are five steps in ESG Pro Mastery Institute, carbon accounting development, and there are five steps which is common in developing and implementing mitigation plan. So what are these five steps? The first step, which is at the center of the heart, is emission inventory analysis. You were asking, right, Mohammad Safiji? You were just asking 6 slide before
Yeah. Yes.
question. This was your
Yeah.
question, right?
Yes. Right.
When I will do my analysis. That analysis happens when we start doing the mitigation plans. It's the first step. You need to understand your data which you have collected in your baseline, and you need to analyze exactly for the purpose which we have discussed, that how sticky it is, how bad it is, can I control it, is it human induced, is it naturally occurring, all that will come here. So the emission inventory analysis requires you to conduct a detailed GHG emission source identification within the organization and check what quality, what quantity, how to address, etc. That's the target point. Second is, of course, again, the setting the target, which was there in the previous slide as well. You need to have that target very clear. You set the short-term target here as well as long-term. So Panadol से कितना impact आएगा और lifestyle change करने से कितना impact. Both need to be seen. You have to set the short-term targets and long-term emission reduction target. Both has to be identified as a step two when you are developing your implementation action. So whenever you write any mitigation, you need to make sure that it shows to your audience, is it my Panadol or is it my lifestyle change? Is it the short-term impact mitigation action, or is it a long-term impact mitigation action? And you need to be very clear when you write that statement. Okay. And this is what I'm expecting when you prepare your plan. When you prepare your plan, what you do? You will make sure that you set a short-term target. There is a time point and or a long-term emission target of that goal. Also, you have to incorporate global framework like science-based targets initiative. Now, it's a big word, but very simple to understand. It requires little bit of understanding of environment science, but if you are just reporting, you need to understand the graph, which has been standardized. Okay. SBTI is, of course, part of the international programs. We do not do it because it requires a lot of time to build up the story. Okay. Even though I'm claiming it's very easy, it takes some month to understand it. You need to understand all the concept beneath it. Then only you can understand SBTI. Um, then third one is identifying and prioritizing the action, which requires listing the potential mitigation actions such as energy efficiency measures. That's one of the measure, everybody takes it. Fuel switching methods, everybody uses it, or carbon offsetting. These are the main three sites. There are several of variation of the same can be used when you identify and prioritize your action. Okay, that's the step number three. Step number four is you implement those mitigation measures and check how, when you deploy those strategy, you see that how they are impacting the operation as well as what is the output of GHG emission. You check that all the time, and if required, you adjust. For example, transitioning to renewable energy or upgrading infrastructure for efficiency may not help you in short term. You will see that the moment you change from tube light to CFL bulb, people started complaining, kids started complaining, I'm not able to see my book very clearly. You will get bogged down. Oh my God, this guy told me that 100 watt of bulb and 8 watt of CFL is same. My kid is unable to see. Let me go and patch it up. What do you do in short term? You put 12 watt CFL. In house, with generally that's what we did, right? When the CFL moment came. Similarly, in organization, you apply the same thing. You adjust little bit. And then slowly, after people understood ki boss, it's just a brightness increase. It's not an actual reading capability has been enhanced by this light. Then they even compromise with 8 watt bulb. So adjusting is very much important. That is why this is the fourth step. And the last step is, of course, you need to monitor this whole development and has to have a reporting process in place whenever you do the mitigation plan. So mitigation plan requires 5 things. What are those things? Starting with emission inventory analysis. So you have to understand what kind of emission you are emitting. Second, setting a target based on those emission quality, quantity, and impact. Third is identifying and prioritizing those actions which will result the short-term and long-term goal which you set in the targets. Fourth is implementing the mitigation measures so that you can adjust as well. And fourth is monitoring and reporting the progress so that effect is seen and visible. With that, you are done with developing the mitigations. This is the case which you will be developing the mitigation. You need to read this case. There are 2 cases here which will be shared again. So 4 cases in total you are going to get today. Under module 5, you need to report to us what we are expecting you to do. Take all 4 cases, analyze all those. First 2 cases we have already explained you what I am requiring from you. The next 2 cases, which is Toyota and Germany, see what kind of mitigation they have adopted. Try to link it with our understanding of those principles and the steps which we have talked. That does it fit into those principles and a step? Which one you think in the case study, maybe one or two, is fitting that criteria and how? That's the presentation I need from you tomorrow. Make sense? क्विक रीड करेंगे आपको मिल जाएगा 2 से 3 पेज का ईच डॉक्यूमेंट है सो टोटल ऑफ 10 पेज ऑफ रीडिंग टुमारो यू हैव टू डू बिफोर 11 a.m. session. Tomorrow, India time 11 a.m. we are starting the classes. Okay. So remember that tomorrow, before tomorrow 11 a.m. You read those 10 pages, have your own notes, like Rajni said, you will have your own notes. You need to identify which particular strategy by the government, which is Germany Energiewende and Toyota hybrid and electric vehicle strategy, which one of those fits which principle and how under your steps. Simple exercise hai. It's not a rocket science, and you will deliver a good speech. I know that for sure. All of you will do a justification for the same. Let's go and understand another part. Or shall we take a 5 minute break? 5 minute break, everyone? It's 1.5 hours already. We
Yes.
have to go at least 1 hour more today. Yeah. So we'll go up to
Yes.
8:30, and if time permits and required, we'll go little more. Let's take a break so everything consolidate, because I have already given you similarity between previous step, which was a scope 1, 2, and 3 emission, and this step, which is mitigation, the relationship between both. Steps are same, 5 step there, 5 step here, but principle was 5 there and 3 here. Just quickly revise that. Let me put that into your screen so you see this, and we take a quick break of 5 minutes. We'll be back by 7:35. I think we have. Okay, then comes the recycle. So recycle is the last part of the 7R, where you have to give your product a new purpose for by recycling them. Learn to properly sort out the recycling of garbage, create those bins, and these are the new policy. If you are implementing ESG policies and ESG framework, you will have those categorized bins in your company, in your house. You separate those stuff which are recyclable and which are not recyclable, and make sure that you are giving it to the right person to recycle it. These are the 7R. I will still
Can you
find.
repeat
Sorry.
second, can you repeat?
So, पहला start कीजिए rethink से, right? Rethink we have said, then you have refused.
Refuse.
Saying no, right? Saying no is the second part.
Okay, okay. Now it's over. Okay.
So rethink, refuse, reduce, reuse,
Use, repair, gift, and
and
recycle.
So
Okay.
clear? And please remind me tomorrow. Still, I will find that article which is published on our blog. If it is available, I will share with you.
that manufacturing of
Furniture is a
the
massive environmentally loading activity, right? So how to make it sustainable? We did a case study on that. Yeah. So that case study, we will have it when we will doing it with you, Rajniji. Going forward, we'll have that case study, and we'll see that even a very environmentally intensive product can be made environmentally responsible product. Is that bar coding, the labeling, the paints which are used on that furniture was optimized to a level where it was saving cost for the company, the extension of life was happening, and at the same time usability and functionality of that product has increased. IKEA is one of the best example of doing the same. Yeah, because they are buying back those furniture as well. So if you, it is not no use for you because you have taken a big house, they create a very smaller modular structures, right? You can use it in a small house, and if you are shifting, you can take those furniture, give it to them. It is their sustainability product to buy from you. When we will go to GRA reporting, we will read about this. Yeah, that how IKEA works. That is another case study, and they have this sustainability practice and procedure because their report writing. When we will learn how they are report writing, you will learn this practice as well. Clear? So just wait for from Monday on Tuesday onwards. Let me go back to quickly finish this part. The sector we have understood, right? Manufacturing we have understood. Last sector was agriculture sector. So if you are planning a mitigation activity for this sector, we talk about current emission profile, which is agriculture right now contributes to emission through methane, which is coming from livestock, or nitrogen oxide coming from the fertilizer. Then you have mitigation strategy, which is sustainable farm and practices people are adopting now, where they have a no-till farming. That's the point number one. Point number two is crop rotation. So by crop rotation, putting tilhan, dalhan, again, conventional wisdom, which we have, right? Now we are putting into scientific way and bringing it back. Then comes the livestock management. Using of feed additives to reduce the methane is another way. Also putting the, all these animals in one place And then creating a mitigation action helps you to achieve a better result. If you are letting them scattered, another problem which I see on the Indian roads is the cow roaming around, right? They are abandoned because they are not giving the milk, they are not usable, they are on road. Some company has to adopt that into their CSR scheme. That's what I have started is spreading this news. People have to understand they have to put little money. Culturally sensitive people will also like, and people who are not culturally sensitive also will like. And that will reduce not only pollution, which is methane emitted on the roadside, which is dangerous, right? But also it cleans our road. So there are several bottom lines which you can achieve with such kind of CSR activity, which we need to convince, big player in the market to also consider and invest a small amount. कुछ नहीं करना, उन सब काऊ को लाके किसी गौशाला में डोनेट करना है, करवाना है. So it becomes a winning for all, right? So that kind of stuff will help us to achieve mitigation action for agriculture. Now, this is the comparative analysis of each of the sector. Yeah. And what are their success factor? What are their key differences? Please take a screenshot, because when you will prepare case study tomorrow, you should be using this spread, right? Which covers the emission driver. We have covered in slide number 1. Mitigation challenges, slide number 1. Then we have gone into technology adoption. Then we looked into regulatory landscape, which somebody was even talking about that carrot and stick is very important. And then you have a financial incentive and public awareness and support. If you understand this well, you have covered all sectors requirement, and each sector has a different profile, which we have learned in our module 2. This is another activity which I want you guys to do, but or tomorrow shall we do this role play exercise where each participant, I think Mohammed Safi, we did this last time as well, right? Each participant has to become either of these three. So think
Yeah.
about it. This is a second exercise you have to do. One is that presentation on 2 of the case study which we are giving you. 2 of the case study which we are giving on the government and corporate side is just for the reading purpose and telling us what did you find there, point wise. But this one is a role play exercise. What you need to do is select a role. So either you will become a energy company executive. So you are working in a NTPC. Assume that. Or you can become a policymaker. So you are working with IPCC or a Government of India Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry. Or you can become an environment advocate like Manish did. You take one role and present your case and or put your case about which sector should what adopt what kind of strategy. Yeah, that discussion you need to bring it again, one slide or maybe 5 points. Just tell your point and people will ask you question. Everybody will ask question to each other. That's the last activity in M5. We will do it, module 5. So module 5, I will start with a briefing. Now we have to cover certain parts which will be carbon accounting. I will start with the carbon market, so I require 1 hour, and then 1 hour we will separate it for these 4 activities. Clear? First 2 case study, what is your observation? Second 2 case study, what is your finding? And then role play activity where you have to become either of these 3 and debate for the purpose of your sector specific GHG mitigation strategy. So you are thinking like a sector expert, right? Not your own company expert. If that is done, let's take a quick quiz.
Mhm. We have a class after the quiz also.
Of course.
आज लंबी चलेगी.
नहीं, 8:30 तो हमने जो प्रॉमिस किया उतना तो चलेगा ही चलेगा.
5 ही मिनट बचे सर 8:30
अरे
में.
काफी है, 5 मिनट बहुत कुछ हो जाएगा. 10 मिनट तो उसके बाद आप बैठोगे ही ना.
सर स्लाइडो कॉम आया
Yeah,
नहीं.
slido.com 4196033.
वो QR
Last
कोड
time, if you have logged in, you will get a prompt below that
QR
this is
कोड.
active. Or scan the QR code.
पराली कौन सी गैस होती है सर?
पराली गैस नहीं होती है. पराली
पराली
when
जब
you
जलती है तो क्या
पराली जब आप बर्न करते हो, when you burn the stubble which is left in the field, when you cut specifically धान, क्या बोलते हैं धान को?
धान का वो जो नीचे वाला पोर्शन होता है सब
हाँ,
जलाते
stubble जो होता है,
हैं, दैट इज पराली.
that is parali. When you burn it, it emits different kind of gases, even some bad gases. Like, means I don't have exact verification. People like Manish and Manish, do you have an idea what all gases apart from CO2 gets emitted from there? SOx and
No,
NOx.
sir. No, sir.
And
Livestock.
then
Yes, sir. NO2 and SO2 will be sir.
SO2, क्योंकि NO2 is of course they are into field, they have fed by nitrous oxide, so they emit that. But SOx also I have heard, and then there are it's a completely complex profile, and then the aerosol which it generates comes to Delhi and becomes the smog. Yeah,
Aerosol compounds. So I didn't get the QR code.
here it is QR code in front. Oh, screen
No,
is
no, I'm seeing you only.
okay, okay, sorry. Okay, wait, just a minute. Why is it not displaying? Okay, now go ahead. Try to log in from the same equipment which you did yesterday. Point ये है, if I will not ask you questions, you will not retain it. We all are busy, right? Again, सुबह में morning में ready होके you have to go to office. We will not revise it tomorrow morning. That's why make sure you revise it today itself. Yeah, and that's why this Q&A is there. So there is a specific purpose based on the pedagogy which we have developed. So we know how you will retain. So थोड़ा कष्ट होता है, but it is important. Quick, everybody's in. Give me thumbs up if you are in. Mohammed Safizi, are you in? Manish, Subodh, Rajni, who is administrator? I have not appointed anybody administrator.
कंप्यूटर का नाम होगा ना.
Is it Presley or Muskan?
है अपने नाम से है इसलिए तो.
You need to identify yourself, otherwise I have to remove. Just rename your computer if possible. I saw your thumbs up, but who are you? I don't know, right? Anyway, if you have logged in, fine, let's start. What is GHG mitigation? The definition part of it. Anybody has any idea? Which is the correct answer here? Okay, so I believe everybody has keyed in their answer. Let's see the correct answer. Action to reduce or prevent the emission of greenhouse gases is GHG mitigation. Next question. Which of the following is an example of corporate strategy for GHG mitigation? Committing to net zero emissions by 2050, ignoring carbon footprint, investing solely in non-renewable energy sources, or reducing waste without considering GHG impact. I think D to nobody should select. It's a lame option, but other options are quite interesting to attempt. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Committing to net zero emission by 2050 is the most important example of corporate strategy for GHG mitigation, because that setting the target itself helps you to achieve it. Okay, that's why it is a GHG mitigation. What role does GHG mitigation play in governmental policy? We learn, right? Corporate and governmental. It increases the greenhouse gas emission. That's the purpose. It helps in setting regulations like carbon pricing and emission trading schemes. ETS was the example. It has no role in policy making. Why GHG mitigation even come into policy? Or it is the only It only focuses on reducing carbon in private sector. It has nothing to do with the government policy. Correct. The answer is it helps in setting the regulation. Which of the following is the key challenges in GHG mitigation? Which of the following is key challenge in GHG mitigation? High initial cost of implementing a strategy, lack of public awareness, uniform policy across all nations, or lack of technological advancement. Which one is the key challenge? Is it the high initial cost, or is it lack of public awareness? Is it lack of technology advancement? What exactly? 5, 4, 3. Okay, high initial cost is the correct answer. Next question. Which country is known for achieving nearly 100% of renewable energy and significant carbon sequestration through reforestation? That case study you have to yet to read and find out how the governments are working. The Denmark and the Costa Rica and the Germany and the China. Of course, that two case study have not talked about it. So you know which one is the correct answer here. 100% renewable energy and significant carbon sequestration through reforestation. There are 50-50 chance only, right? Take that chance. You have 5, 4, 3, 2, and don't try to find in chat GPT. They will not find these kind of answers. Correct answer is Costa Rica. It looked Denmark, but it is actually Costa Rica. Why? Because they are the one who is looking for reforestation, if you remember. Denmark didn't talk about forestation or reforestation, okay? Okay, let's go to next question. What is the first step in developing GHG mitigation plan? We remember there are 5 plans, 5 steps. Which one is the first one? Setting the long-term, short-term goals, conducting an emission inventory analysis, monitoring progress, or identifying the action. Which one is the first one? Okay, correct. Absolutely correct. Everybody got it correct. Conducting the data analysis. Which framework is incorporated in setting emission reduction goal for GHG mitigation? Which framework is incorporated in setting emission reduction goal of GHG mitigation? Out of all those, I think I have only talked about two, right? Carbon trading system, and that is European Union carbon trading system, or ETS, energy trading system, and scientific waste target initiative. Only these two we have talked, right? We didn't talk about Kyoto Protocol or clean development CDM, clean development mechanism. We didn't talk about that. So that cannot be the answer. I've talked about only SBTI, isn't it? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Correct answer is science-based target initiative. I have only talked about that people use to achieve their net zero, right? So these two becomes your mitigation action in itself. Then comes what is typically the main focus of prioritization of action during GHG mitigation strategy. What is typically the main focus in prioritization of actions during GHG mitigation strategy? What is the main focus here? Is it minimizing the cost of the mitigation? Is their main focus? Improving carbon offset program so that you can buy as much as you want? Or is it identifying energy efficient solution and fuel switching, or reducing the global temperature? What is your main focus here? In the prioritization stage, it has to be identifying the energy efficient solution and fuel switching. Look, you like to target global temperature, but can you do anything about the global temperature in prioritization of the action? No, you prioritize based on which one is good energy efficient solution and what kind of fuel switching we will do. On slide, it is there as a word. Which tool is commonly used to track the progress of GHG emission reduction? Which tool is commonly used to track the progress of GHG emission reduction. Which tool? Digital tracking software, emission calculators, paper-based spreadsheet, or real-time emission monitoring tools are the tool which is commonly used to track the progress of GHG emission reduction plan. Real-time, paper-based, emission calculator, or digital tracking system. Common sense. Quick. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Common sense, digital tracking software. Anything which tracks the emission reduction targets is a tracking of the progress, right? Which of the following is an example of an action in GHG mitigation strategy? In action example, which one is this? Is an action example for a GHG mitigation strategy. Developing new government regulation, transitioning to renewable energy sources, ignoring renewable energy, ignoring renewable sources and focusing on fossil fuels, increasing carbon emission. Which one you think is an example? Five, four, three. Okay. Correct answer is transitioning to renewable energy sources. That's the ideal way to apply GHG mitigation strategy. What is the main contributor of GHG emission in the energy sector? Energy sector, which one is the main contributor? Agriculture in energy sector? Doesn't make sense. Fossil fuel used by energy, electricity and heat, transportation of the fuel, or deforestation. Which one you think is the main contributor in energy sector for GHG? Common sense. And this exact line was used in the slide. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. Fossil fuel is the correct answer. Used in electricity and heat can be main contributor, and is it main contributor to GHG emission? Which of the following, paused it. Which of the following strategy is commonly used in energy sector to reduce the emission? Which mitigation strategy is commonly used in energy sector to reduce the emission? Exactly on the slide. Adoption of electric vehicle, improving power plants, energy efficiency, reducing agriculture emissions, or implementing circular economy principle. Circular economy principle, if you remember, was manufacturing. Reducing agriculture emission is agriculture. So only two options are there, which is the correct one. Energy sector, you are targeting what? Remember that. Power plant, right? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Correct answer is improving the power plant energy efficiency. What is the major mitigation strategy in transportation sector? Transportation sector, do you work on reducing carbon taxes? Do you have anything to do with that? Electrification of vehicle could be. Encouraging increased use of fossil fuel? I doubt. Eliminating all public transportation, best strategy. Don't have any public, let people drive their own car. Questions are comedy. What to do? Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Select one. Okay, good. Electrification of vehicle. Which of the following is challenge specific to manufacturing sector's GHG mitigation effort? Which of the following is a challenge specific to manufacturing sector GHG emission effort? Limited technology innovation, high barriers to adopting green technology, lack of renewable energy sources, or government regulation. Which one is a challenge? Government regulation, okay. Lack of renewable energy, okay. High barriers to adopting green technology could be. Cost, etc. Limited technology innovation could be. What is your answer? Quick. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. High barriers to adopting a green technology is the answer. Which sector emission profile include methane emission? Which sector we are talking about? Methane emission from livestock. Very simple. Livestock, which sector? And fertilizer, which sector? Only one sector is there, right? 5, 4, 3. This kind of silly questions you should answer quickly. These are from the slides. Straight away. In agriculture sector, which of the following practices can help mitigate GHG emission? In agriculture sector, which of the following practices can help mitigate GHG emission? Industrial scale farming practices, no-till farming and crop rotation. Did I talk about it? Increased pesticide use. Did I talk about it? रिड्यूसिंग नंबर ऑफ लाइव स्टॉक, हाँ सबसे बेस्ट है, सारे लाइव स्टॉक को मार दो, नो इमिशन. But you know, meat industry is most polluting industry as well. So just killing will also not help you. So don't do that. Quick, last few questions. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No-till farming is the correct answer. What is the primary emission driver in manufacturing sector? Primary emission driver in manufacturing sector. Livestock is a primary emission driver in manufacturing. Use of fossil fuel in production processes. Energy consumption from grid-based power sources. Road transportation emission. These all three looks probable, but which one is most primary? Most primary will be which one? In manufacturing, right? Machines are working very hard, giving you the product which you need. So you have only 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fossil fuel. Oh, see, somebody went there and give a wrong answer. He's really smart, he or she. Okay.
It hasn't
You give
correct was there. B, then again I changed last moment C because most of time we have to depend on the electric grid power only. Fossil fuel,
Yes,
whenever any
yes, yes.
problem is there, then only you have to use the fossil fuel.
Mohammed Safi ji, you are from IT business. That's why you are
Yeah.
thinking that
We
DG
don't
set.
have any other option ना सर, he is right. वो ग्रिड से जो
No,
पावर आएगी वो कहाँ से दे रहा है, वो तो ग्रिड
बताओ ना.
डिसाइड करेगा ना.
मैं बताता हूँ. आप इलेक्ट्रिसिटी की बात
आपके
कर
पास
रहे हो.
चॉइस कहाँ है?
नहीं नहीं, मैं बता रहा हूँ ना. दैट्स व्हाट आई एम टेलिंग यू. यू आर फॉरगेटिंग वन मोर एस्पेक्ट ऑफ द manufacturing business. One is that energy source for running that machinery. I accept that now machines are modernized. They do not use DG set to run the machines. They use the electricity power, right? So
डीजी
energy
करना
consumption
पड़ेगा.
from grid-based power sources could be a challenge for them. I'm totally with you. But the main part you are forgetting, the wear and tear of the manufacturing equipments also requires energy, right? And manufacturing sector generally is intensive on the fossil fuel. आपके पास आपने केवल एक इंडस्ट्री सोची ना. आपने बॉयलर के बारे में सोचा क्या? अगर किसी कोई फोर्जिंग बिजनेस में है, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कर रहा है, कार बना रहा है, राइट, नीड टू डू द फोर्जिंग. उसके लिए जो बॉयलर हैं वो रिक्वायर्ड होते हैं, केमिकल्स हैं वो रिक्वायर्ड होते हैं. तो फॉजल फ्यूल का बहुत बड़ा यूसेस है प्रोडक्शन प्रोसेस में, असेंबली लाइन में. हाँ, आई अग्री, पार्ट ऑफ इट नाउ इट इज ऑटोमाइज, सो मे बी इलेक्ट्रिसिटी इज अ चैलेंज, बट स्टिल प्राइमरी फोकस रिमेन्स ऑन द फॉजल फ्यूल कंजम्पशन. If you have removed that, of course, you have reduced it. Now you will target the energy consumption. But whenever I talk about sector, at least till 2024, if there is something change at the end of 2024, I'm not very sure of. But right now, and it is mentioned in my document, so I'm sticking with my document as well. Okay, both thing. Don't put your stuff when a book is given a different theory. Clear? Let's go to the last two questions. Which energy source is emphasized for mitigation in energy sector? Which energy source is emphasized in mitigation in energy sector? Is it coal, nuclear power, renewable energy like wind, solar, hydro? Is it the one which we recommended, or did we recommended biomass? Which one for energy sector we are recommending? Again, based on my slides, yeah, not common sense. My slide has said very clearly renewable energy should be focus for mitigation. Okay, wind, solar, and hydropower plants. Next, what is the common strategy for transportation sector to reduce GHG emission? Common strategy. What is the common strategy for transportation sector to reduce GHG emission? Enhancing fuel economy in vehicle, promoting biofuel for aviation, developing hydrogen powered transportation, or reducing train services. transportation sector, common strategy. Start with enhancing fuel economy in the vehicle or
My
promote.
last question did not go actually. Oh, yeah. Previous question.
Previous question you didn't attempt
No,
it.
it did not go only. I attempted, it did not go.
Oh, it didn't receive, you are saying.
Yeah, yeah. I put click on send, but it did not go only.
It looks like you have answered, but anyway, let's see. It looks like you have answered, but anyway, this question, please answer. Okay, everybody has answered.
Yeah, yeah. This is
Enhancing,
I have done.
okay, enhancing fuel economy vehicle is the correct answer. There, everybody just starting with converting into EV, etc. What is the shared challenge across all sector in reducing GHG emissions? Shared challenge in all sector. It is common for all sector. This mitigation action you can apply to all sector. Which is that? High technology adoption rate, global collaboration of unified goals, high implementation cost for financial incentive, or technological sharing across the industry. Common sense. Common sense. Don't put your mind too much here. What is the shared challenge across all sector? Absolutely. Everybody got it correct, by the way. High impact cost, financial incentive. That brings to the end. Manish, you did really well. You took little more time, but you did really well. And this is total of all till today, okay? So don't
बहुत
think
गलत
that.
हो गया सर, 4-5 गलत हो गए.
But Rajni ji, you have also done exactly one question less
So my
incorrect.
9 marks
दो
of
तो दो
previous
तो
day is
बेवकूफी किया.
pending in. It was
You have not attempted Subodh ji, that's why. And Mohammad Safi ji to last
नहीं,
में
नहीं,
fill
नहीं,
किए.
it was other नहीं, last first day it was different mobile 9 out of 10.
That's why
Result
you
was
missed in
first
between.
actually.
Okay, okay, okay,
First
okay.
day.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Mohammad Safi
9
was not
marks
there in the
yesterday.
first quiz. He was not
First,
there. Presley
first
was also not,
two, I think, sessions I was not there.
Yeah.
not there. That's why.
So it is
And even
37.
Presley was not
So it
there.
was 37 anyway.
But good job done. Yeah, time-wise, you have done really well. Manish, you are doing really good along with Rajni ji. Thank you. With that carbon market roadmap, we will start at 11 o'clock, 11 a.m. sharp. We will
I
first
thought today,
complete the
is it
carbon
today,
market.
na?
Sorry?
Today are we doing something
No,
after
no, no.
this?
Today we will not do it. It's too much. I just teased
Thank
everybody.
you.
Already
इस
8:45.
4 अभी हमारा होमवर्क है कि 4 वो जो अपने
हाँ, वो
स्टडी थी.
4 पढ़ने हैं.
आपको
चारों
you
Sir,
have to send that and 7
can you
hour वाला you have
I
to
will
send.
have
send
to
right
send
away.
us ना.
I will. Okay, then hold on. Everybody just be there in the group. Let me
And the
send
recording of this today's recording also.
recording of this today. Okay, let me